Good morning and welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman here on Humanity Healing Facebook. It's a beautiful day here in York, Maine of the USA, and I'm thrilled always to be here and to present what is presented to me for each of you as we gather together and move through these amazing times that we're experiencing right now. Although some of us may be having some struggles, it really is a moment of positivity if we can allow ourselves to let go of the fear and let go of the strangeness of what we're discovering about ourselves and each other. So with that, I say good morning, Catherine, Chicago, beautiful, and good morning to Angelina, Tammy. So I'm glad to see some people are arriving. I'm showing up. Hopefully the video will be a little bit better today. I never know. I've got a new router. I'm working with computers that drive me crazy. And so we're doing the best we can, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't break all up and get staticky, as it has for the past several weeks. And that's all we can hope for, is the best in anything. So as we gather, I last night I opened this book, the Still Voice, which is a White Eagle book of meditations, and I've read these things so many times. It's just they're just like a comforter. They comfort me, and so I thought today I would open this talk with just one of the little meditations as we gather and look at encouragement and acceptance. And part of it is in order for us to have encouragement and acceptance, we need to come to a place of trust within ourselves, a 0 point, if you will, to allow the energies to flow through us both ways, from the outside in and from the inside out. So it has to be a 2-lane highway, my beloved guide is saying. So if we could just take a moment to take a deep breath, feel that beautiful air in our lungs, filling our bodies, relaxing into that breath. Let us begin. We stand together in the healing temple of the Most High. The Great Spirit pours down upon you the golden rays from heaven. Your cup, the Grail cup, which is your heart, is being filled with the power of the Spirit. Be filled with this balm. We worship the infinite, boundless light and power and goodness. We surrender to thee. May we be healed, cleansed, strengthened, and perfected in thy life. Another relaxing breath, and let us begin our journey together. Thank you all for showing up. It's good to see you all on the sidelines, those of you who I can see. And this morning was an interesting arising. I awakened at 3:21 a.m., which is one of those mornings where my guides in the universe say, okay, Charlie, it's time to arise and shine and prepare your day. which I really do enjoy. I enjoy preparing for these talks, and I only do it in the mornings before I come here. The week goes by, and I don't think much about it. These talks, transmissions, messages are in the moment for you as we gather. So 3:21 a.m. is 321. It's a backwards line of numbers. And so, as usual, when I get these numbers, I look them up through, I forget her name, Joanne or something, but it's Sacred Scribes, Angel Numbers. And I've been doing that for years. I always love what they have to say. Out of anyone that I've looked at, they seem to speak to me more than the others. So the number 3, as I interpreted what was coming through me, to me and through me as I was reading them, number 3 represents creative self-expression with enthusiasm and an optimistic communication of hope. And that felt really well this morning, because as I went to bed last night, I was a bit confused. There was a lot of energy that I had taken on during the day and the evening. And as I went to bed, I just opened and said, I don't know what all of this means. And I know that it's not feeling comfortable with me right now. So I asked the guides and angels to process that for me so that I can wake up in the morning with a bit more clarity as to what were the messages for me of that day and evening. And it's a practice I do all the time. I recommend it to anybody. When you have a stressful day or a day where you're greeted with something that you can't quite figure out, when you go to bed at night, ask whoever you trust in the dream time, in your religious practice, to communicate with you during the evening of your sleep. And you don't have to be consciously aware, but I know that in the morning you will have a different outlook of it. Now, so that was the number 3, is creative self-expression with enthusiasm and an optimistic communication of hope. And I felt uplifted by that. I said, well, if that's for me, then this feeling down isn't who I am. This feeling up, this hope is what I need and what I need to act on. So the number 2 adds faith and trust along with a sensitivity to others, and helping them to be encouraged and finding happiness. That's primarily what I do here on this talk. Is I try to encourage people to see things differently and to not become so heavy laden with the negative energies of the day. Know that at some level we have to have faith and trust. Otherwise, we just get heavier and heavier and heavier. And so the number 1 is about new beginnings. And that was perfect for me. I love new beginnings. Every day for me is a new beginning, really. When I wake up, the first thing I say is thank you, because I know I'm still here. And where I've been when I've not been here is amazing and beautiful, but it's not here. It's not in the middle of this beautiful activity of humanity and Mother Earth come together. And I know right now that's a bit dark, but even in this darkness, I can find the joy of waking up and being here. As my day goes on, it kind of wanes, but I always come back to the next morning. And so it's about starting new endeavors through instinct and intuition. So instinct and intuition is something that many of us have a great abundance of, but have not trusted it as much as we could have or should have. and I don't like the word should. And what's happening now in the world is really heartbreaking in a lot of ways. And we're having to look at where do we go for trust? Well, we need to go within. We need to go within our own hearts and speak to the guidance that is always ready to assist us. Doesn't matter what form you choose or how you want to see it, but you will recognize it by its light, its love, and its peace. And in that respect, in those three aspects, it will always be a comforting message, even though your human mind might not be comfortable with that. Because most of what we're learning right now is to embrace the unknown and to deepen ourselves into a relationship with our heart and let the mind have a little break, go on vacation a little. So the complete number 321 was a direct message to me. And as I share my messages with everyone, it's a direct message to you. A blessing in many ways of confirmation and of recognition, to not lose faith in what you or I have been intending or doing in the areas of our higher alignment. It's a message to keep going. And not only that, it's a message to encourage others who are just beginning to break free of the old patterns or paradigm, if you will, and to keep going. And so this is where we join, we counterbalance the separation that exists in the world today, and we come back into alignment with each other, and we start to co-create, even if it's not consciously or physically together, just in the thinking patterns of our lives and our adjustment to our relationship to higher spirit and guidance. What we're doing is we're inviting ourselves back into the family of light, which we never really left. We just have forgotten and been entrained to not believe in anymore. So with that said, right now, Peace Ranger's here. Wow, I haven't seen you for a while, Peace brother. How are you? So let's talk about encouragement, okay? Right now in our evolutionary journey, we're deep in need of encouragement. And it's our responsibility not only to receive encouragement, but also to encourage others. So the world we have known, it appears to be falling apart, or it's being intentionally destroyed in front of us. Neither one are a pleasant vision or a pleasant experience. So most of the people I see and talk with are always, and myself included, we'll start talking, and soon after we start talking, the conversation goes negative. And I've been thinking about this for a while, that even I'm subject to this. I find myself starting off positive, and then I can get into, well, this is happening and that's happening, and the conversation becomes completely different. So this points out to me the stress that each one of us are under to maintain this positive vibration, this vibration of light and love and peace, which we truly are. And so they're extremely challenging times. And all of us are here and will endure this on some level. But on the same time, at the same time, on some higher level of our existence, we're here to be of service in this process of the rising of our sovereign self. And you've heard me speak of the sovereign self before. And the sovereign self really if you look up the words, we think of sovereign meaning a government or ruler, and we don't have a good feeling about that the way we've been trained to think of it in the world. But our sovereign self is really about the truth of the light and love we are. So when I say become your sovereign self, that's what I'm saying to you, is to become the truth of the light and love you are. That somewhere in the midst of all this shadow world we live in, that light and love is just as strong as the day you were created and the day you took form into this physical body. That has never, ever changed. And if I can get that into your mind, to go seeking that, I promise you your life will change. There is no way it cannot change. The process is challenging, but it can be done. So how do we express it more in our everyday lives is the journey that we're on. And that led me to a card, the first card I always pull, which is a sacred evolutionary, that's not a sacred, it's a sacred space meditation card. And this is the Helix Nebula, okay? It's one of the largest and most detailed of the celestial images. And the card itself is acceptance. And so acceptance, you can see that, yeah. Acceptance, the quote on that is, "The great spirit of universal wisdom fills my soul." I'll say that again. "The great spirit of universal wisdom fills my soul. As I accept the insight and knowledge, I realize my unique potential. As I accept the insight and knowledge from the great spirit of the universal wisdom, I will realize my unique potential." So if we think about it, if we're living at 50% of our potential, we're failing. I have a friend who reminds me 65% is passing. And so can we raise that to 65? At least at 65% of using this universal wisdom and knowledge and insight, we're getting a passing grade. For those of us who are at 65, let's go for 75 or 80. We have still got room to expand and express how we're receiving this wisdom and then spreading it. So most of us are suffering in some form or other. We've not only been through the trauma of our own existence in this incarnation, our everyday experience since birth and even in the womb, to where we sit here now talking with each other, but we're also carrying the genetic predisposition of our ancestors that we inherited just through our gene codes. And if we look at human history, we realize there's been thousands of years of abuse and suffering. So why wouldn't we be carrying those, not only our own issues, but the issues of our ancestors? Right now, we have an opportunity to free ourselves, to free them, and to free the future generations of humanity from this trauma. And we are the ones who can do this. And I say that not as a dream, but I witness it in so many people, including myself. There are moments where you just have this, wow, what just happened? Everything shifted in somebody, and you say, wow. And we don't know how we're doing it, but part of it is through encouragement and acceptance. When we can encourage somebody else and we can accept them, what we're doing is we're inviting them into our hearts. Isn't that beautiful? Inviting them into our hearts without fear. So it's time now to break free from the old paradigm and the old messages and the old trauma and keep going. All of us shifting our thoughts and patterns and attuning to the oneness of the universe, goddess, creator, whatever you label you want to put on it, however it feels closest to you. One is not better than the other. They're just each of us looking at it from a different point on the circle, and then acknowledging that it still is all powerful. Whew, okay, take a breath. Yes, our ancestors are very important. Yes, Angela, and I say that because I know how important they truly are and how much my life has deepened to be in connection with them. And it doesn't matter if you know who your ancestors are, in particular as a people, but know that they came from an area in the world, and to know that in that area of the world there was suffering, and there was all of the issues that we're facing right now, and their response to those is still alive in us. And when it happens to us, it makes it more able for us to manifest that same fear or that same pain or that same suffering. And it's our hope and our self-expression that will not only encourage us, but help us to encourage others as we begin to see the fruits of our labors, which spur people to move deeper into the more powerful aspects of our unlimited selves. And this is who we are. We're unlimited beings. This is what sovereignty means, is stepping into that unlimitedness, and not to be overpowering somebody else, but just to express the greatness and the glory of your light, your love, your peace. Not for recognition, but for the simplicity of saying, this is my truth. This is who I truly am. I want to read a poem by he's a Middle Eastern, he was a enlightened mystic who lived in Eastern Europe. His name is Ili Sioara, and his works were transcribed into English. And so this one is called Melting by Ili Sioara. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, but that's okay. The universe and I are one. In the now, always. The lived momentum leaves. The free mind is empty. Neither past nor future. They cease moving arbitrarily. The aliveness of life in this moment creates no reactions in me. I see, listen, and live authentically. I become whole through love. In this state, the whole being is pure, boundless happiness, without images, is encountered in fact, in absolute silence. Melting is the name of that poem. And feel yourself melting into this place in your hearts where we really are one. There is no separation. And know that in this process of melting, we let go of our judgments, the judgment of others and the judgments of ourselves, because they're intertwined. There's no separation there either. What we think of outside of ourselves is going on in us. Yesterday morning, I was driving down the street, and the message came through to me that everything I was seeing was a mirror. Everything I saw outside of me was a mirror. And when I look into that mirror, and I live in this mirror world, everything that I see is a reflection of me. And when I point my finger or get upset because you did this or he said that or this is going on, what I'm really doing, the message was for me, but take it as it is. Whatever I get upset with out there, I'm also getting upset with in myself. And there's a tiny fragment of that within me. It may not be playing out in the same way it is outside of me, but on some level, it is playing out in this universe of my body, my physical presence. It's a powerful message for me, because I've been realizing lately how many judgments have been coming up, and how no matter how we think we appear to others or to ourselves, there's always room to grow and know who we truly are. And that's what today's message of encouragement and acceptance is really about. Hopefully, I'm encouraging you to accept you for who you truly are, because you are beautiful, beautiful beings. You're beings of light, and it's our responsibility now to change and to prepare the way for the future generations, and as well to let our former generations rest in peace. Set them free. We are the ones who have chosen to do this. And we do it by doing it within our own hearts. Begin there. I love you all. I thank you all. I respect each and every one of you for every thought that you have, whether you agree with me or you disagree with me. Because I know that whether you agree or disagree, there's a part of that in me as well. I want to thank you all for showing up today. And hopefully this message does encourage you to look deeper into yourself and know that within you are the keys to you changing everything in your life without fear, without anger, without judgment. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. May you all have a blessed week. Thank you for hearing my message, and hopefully it presents some meaningful relationship within your own hearts. Till next week, be at peace. May the light and love fill you and embrace you and encourage you to step deeper into who you truly are. Bye-bye. Says in live video, it just doesn't want to end. Bye-bye.